Alright, I know what you're all thinking. Josh, you were like mostly disappeared from YouTube for over a year, and now you show up with 3 new videos in a week, and in every one you're wearing a tank top. What in the HE double is going on? And there's 2 reasons for the tank tops. 1, it gets hotter in Canada in the summer than you think. And 2, that is hotter than you think. Just because he's dead don't mean he ain't a daddy. Hey guys, and welcome to my E3 retrospective of the 10 things that were right with this E3 this year. I'm sure I'll put that more eloquently in the thumbnail. Basically, I'm just going to be talking to the camera about what I really liked and appreciated about E3 this year because, you know, I don't think the companies can copyright strike this face yet. So, not a whole lot of footage, but occasionally I'll put images up there that are super relevant to what's going on. I swear, super duper relevant. But, yeah, let's get right into this. Play that old-fashioned sound effect. Now, while most of this video is going to be Nintendo-focused, because, you know, if you haven't noticed, I'm kind of a Nintendo-focused man, the other companies, you know what? They did pretty alright this year. Put that on a box art, Microsoft. Legit, I know there was a lot of people that were kind of disappointed in what Bethesda had to show off, or rather, didn't show off this year, and there was some iffy stuff with the Ubisoft press conference, but overall, I think most of the companies did a pretty dang good job this year. And the first thing that really kind of piqued my interest the most was the fact that Ubisoft's making an open world game, but it actually looks creative? So after a week of telling games journalists that nothing in any of their games are political, Ubisoft opened their press conference by saying the word Brexit about 40 times, and then announcing that the whole gimmick to the new Watch Dogs game, Watch Dogs Legion, is actually the fact that there is no playable character. Every NPC is a playable character. And you know what? That is exactly the type of ambitious, really weird gimmick that I want to see more of these AAA publishers trying out in their games. You guys got all the money in the world? Throw it at something f***ing weird. Come on. Now, I don't want to think about what a writing and programming headache all of these systems intertwining would actually mean for the game developers, but I'm really intrigued by the idea of the player controlling, like, the idea of resistance and all of the people affected by that, rather than a singular protagonist. That's kind of an outlook that I don't think I've really seen in a video game before, or at least not one published by one of the major publishers. So, you know what? I don't know how it's going to turn out. Maybe it's going to be a mess, but for now, I'm actually kind of interested in Watch Dogs Legion. Although I will admit, just if we're being honest here, I'd probably be exactly as psyched if they just announced that only the grannies were playable. Like, that would be a pretty good gimmick, too. Invest more in granny technology, Ubisoft. Final Fantasy VII. The game I've never quite gotten around to playing because, you know, turn-based JRPGs really aren't my thing, and there's nothing wrong with them, but... How am I getting tweets telling me to crucify myself when I haven't even uploaded this video yet? Now, I know there's some people that are worried over the fact that this remake apparently isn't remaking the entirety of Final Fantasy VII, at least not yet, but I'm actually really intrigued by the idea of a remake kind of trying to adapt a previous game rather than just making a definitive version of it, you know? Like expanding on what worked the last time and maybe fleshing out things that weren't able to be fleshed out during the PS1 era. Like, that really appeals to me. Taking essentially a really good movie and seeing if you can make a really good TV show out of it. I mean, it's worked before in other mediums, so maybe expanding this story will make it even better. Who knows? Honestly, though, given how me and JRPGs generally don't get along, the new combat system is actually kind of appealing to me. I know some people are still iffy on it and need to actually play it for themselves, but I like that boss battle with the scorpion robot thing. Okay, now because I said that, Twitter's recommending me Rule 34 of the giant metal scorpions, so, that's enough internet for today. Did that break something? Okay. Let's address the elephant in the room. Or rather, the 5 elephants in the room. Personally, I think it's very progressive that they hired elephants to play the Avengers. Alright, that was probably a little bit too mean, but this was a problem they were going to have either way with the new Avengers game. If you're going to have the graphic style be super realistic, you expect Iron Man to look like Robert Downey Jr., and that is not Robert Downey Jr. But hey, it's something we're all going to get over eventually, and honestly, like, the entire pitch of the game, other than that initial, like, uncanny valley stunt people Avengers, I'm down for that. I've never really gotten into any of the, like, constantly online shooter, Destiny 2, The Division type games. So the idea of having one of those style of games taking place in a comics universe that I'm quite a big fan of, I'm down for that. I'm just gonna say that a whole lot this video. I'm down for that. I'm down for all of this. Video games are friggin' great, and I am down for them. Now, these games live and die based on their post-launch content, and the way they've kind of announced it so far, it seems like we'll be constantly getting new Marvel superheroes and new Marvel locations to visit over time, and there's no real way to know how that's gonna pan out yet, but it's definitely an intriguing prospect, and I'm definitely eager to actually see some gameplay of this, and hope that it lives up to the wildness that's going on in my head right now. Seriously, could someone help me out with this? I keep thinking of thick Thanos memes. Alright, before we get into the Nintendo stuff, I just gotta say, every single press conference this year had at least, like, half a dozen really cool, really beautiful indie games that I am dying to check out. And to just kind of summarize them all, I feel like I can't do them justice with, like, my normal mode of speaking in my normal form of video. So, we're gonna have to steal from another genre for this one. So, these video games, they look really good. So the first thing we gotta talk about from our buddies at Nintendo was actually something that wasn't in the actual E3 press conference, but from their Nintendo Treehouse events later. Mainly that all of my complaints about how Nintendo was kind of handling the online in Super Mario Maker 2 that I pointed out in my pre-E3 video, and all those snide jokes I made, apparently someone at Nintendo watches my stuff. I'm gonna take full credit for this one. This is on me. Entirely. Totally. Seriously though, I am overjoyed that Nintendo has confirmed that they've heard fan complaints and that they will be adding at some point being able to play with friends in multiplayer online in Super Mario Maker 2. As I said before, it was never a deal breaker for me, but it was a super disappointing loss of a really basic feature in this day and age. So I'm really glad that Nintendo has apparently decided, hey, we messed up, we're gonna patch this in. Alongside of that announcement, they also announced that Super Mario Maker 2 is going to be getting consistent support from Nintendo, and also that they will continue to be listening to community feedback, which is really exciting. They did a little bit of that with the original Mario Maker, but I'm really excited to see how much support we're going to get this time, now that Mario Maker is on a console that, you know, will actually sell. So, the original Luigi's Mansion was one of the very first games that I ever did an episode of Really Freaking Clever on. I absolutely love that game. It's a weird, quirky, self-contained little adventure that was kind of the perfect game for a weird, quirky little console called the GameCube. And I respect it a lot. Now, Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon for the 3DS, I thought it was pretty good, but it definitely had a bit of a different vibe to it. Everything felt a bit more structured, a bit more compact, a little bit too much focused on being a good portable game, which I get, but it kind of detracted from the overall feeling in the original Luigi's Mansion of exploring one huge location and slowly unearthing more and more to the story. So I'm really happy to see that Luigi's Mansion 3 does seem to be taking place in a singular location again, but having the premise of taking place in a hotel so they can kind of do the different variety of environments that Dark Moon did have to its benefit. So I'm really excited for this game. It looks like they're combining the best of both worlds. They've got some new moves for Luigi. It basically looks like everything you'd want for a Nintendo Switch version of Luigi's Mansion. Not a whole lot, like, new or exciting to talk about, but sometimes you gotta do what works, and if that means combining Luigi's Mansion and Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, making them kiss, I'm okay with that Luigi baby. So I have a confession to make that is going to make the internet very angry at me. I have never played the original Link's Awakening. This is the part where I'd like After Effects in like an explosion, like my phone exploding because I'm getting so much like hate on my comments, you know, to continue that joke from the Final Fantasy thing, but I don't know how to After Effects. Kaboom! Imagination. So that being said, I am super excited to finally experience the game on Nintendo Switch later this September. All of the trailers, all the gameplay, that looks amazing. But what really piqued my interest this time is something that I never thought that Nintendo would actually go ahead and do, and that is the Dungeon Maker mode. Now, one of the things I'm asked most in my Twitch chat whenever I'm playing Super Mario Maker is whether I think Nintendo should make a Zelda Maker. And while I personally would love that, I don't know if there's really a mass appeal to being able to make Zelda dungeons, or rather, I'm not sure if the average consumer would know how to make a good Zelda dungeon. Like, I think that anyone could make even the most basic Mario level. You draw some ground, you make some pits, you jump over those to the flagpole, you're done. Whereas I feel like a Zelda dungeon's a lot more complex. You need to have puzzles, everything needs to interconnect together. It's a lot harder to make a barely acceptable Zelda dungeon than it is to make a barely acceptable Mario level. So I've always figured that while a Zelda Maker would be cool, Nintendo really wouldn't be that interested in it because it wouldn't have that same mass appeal and easy understandability that Mario Maker does. However, the people at Nintendo are smarter than me. I will fully admit that right now, if it wasn't obvious. From what we've seen of this new mode in Link's Awakening, this looks like the perfect compromise. Preset rooms that you can unlock and then stitch together in whatever way you want with different variables. This seems like the perfect way to test whether a Zelda Maker is a good concept and whether players connect with this. If this mode does good, I 100% believe that within a few years, we will be seeing a Zelda Maker release on the Switch at some point. I truly believe that this is a simplified testing ground for an actual Zelda Maker. So I really hope this game does do well and does prove me wrong, that people are interested in making Zelda dungeons, and that hopefully in a few years' time, I'll be doing Zelda Maker streams. So they took Animal Crossing, and they're gonna put some crafting and stuff from Stardew Valley in it. This is going to be the most played game of all time. So I don't have a whole lot to actually add to the Animal Crossing discussion itself when it comes to the actual game. There's a lot more people that are a lot more invested in the Animal Crossing franchise that are doing a pretty good job of that already. What I will say that while it is disappointing that a game that was originally announced for 2019 has now been moved to early 2020, I think it is tremendous of Nintendo that they have openly admitted that they are not willing to put their employees into crunch to get this game out for the holiday season. I think that is something we desperately need more of in the games industry, and I'm happy that Nintendo is leading by example, and that hopefully this will lead to both a better game and a better quality of life for Nintendo employees, because at the end of the day, they're the ones that make the games we love, and, you know, they deserve to be loved right back. Did that make sense? I hope that made sense. So I didn't have my hopes for Banjo that high. Banjo could in fact be a Microsoft representative in Super Smash Bros. If that happens, that's just... I'm dead. I mean, if it happened, I'd probably be cool with it. Yes! Okay, so like honorable mention to the hero from Dragon Quest, because I'm sure that is like majorly important to a lot of people. I think Nintendo did a really good job of balancing what would appeal to Japanese audiences and American/European audiences with the dual mix of Dragon Quest and Banjo-Kazooie. I think that was a really smart move on Nintendo's part, but oh my god, Banjo and Smash, I never thought I'd live to see the day. Now, I know I promised that I would be banned from Twitch if Banjo was announced in Smash, and I truly believe that I'm only still unbanned because of a technicality. It's just because they couldn't see what was happening, like, below this desk. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. It is legitimately so great to see Banjo and Kazooie treated with so much love, with so much reverence by the original team. Oh my god, I'm so excited. Grant Kirkhope's doing the music. How could that announcement ever be topped? How could they top one of gaming's icons coming back to Nintendo, being treated with such love, and oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god. People kept asking me, Josh, do you think they'll announce a new Zelda game at this E3? And I was like, no! No, we got Cadence of Hyrule coming out. We got the Link's Awakening remake. There is no way. That's like 2020, the very earliest. We'll get some new info on the next Zelda game. And like, you know, who even knows what it's gonna be? Like, I am genuinely worried, like, maybe they won't follow up on Breath of the Wild. Maybe they'll go for something more linear, take it more in a more classic direction. No! Nintendo doesn't care about that. Apparently someone at Nintendo has a crush on me because I cannot see announcing Banjo and Smash and then a frickin' sequel to Breath of the Wild focusing on Ganondorf back to back. I can't see that as anything else other than a declaration of love. So I'm gonna do a video later on of exactly what I want to see from Breath of the Wild 2. But for now, that trailer, that was perfect. That was the perfect ending to a really good Nintendo E3 conference. I'm so happy that it's the same Link and Zelda. I'm so happy that it looks like they're going to expand on what made Breath of the Wild work and hopefully fix a few of the things that didn't and bring back some more classic Zelda elements. But overall, I'm just over the moon, and my god, somebody get that boy a tall glass of water because he needs to get rehydrated. He definitely needs to get rehydrated. So those were 10 things right with my E3. I hope you guys had at least 10 things that you thought were all right from there as well. Why don't you let me know in the comments? You know, that's what they're for. Have a discussion. All that stuff. Type with your typing fingers. Or whatever you use to type. Your toes. I'm not gonna judge. I'm sorry. This, like, outro is completely... Banjo's in Smash, y'all. Do you guys realize that? Do you guys Banjo's in Smash. This channel is being completely just changed. ASMR only. Banjo's in Smash ASMR. That's me. Really freaking Banjo's in Smash. And Breath of the Wild 2. We can talk about that. I'm pretty stoked. God, he's just so hot!